Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with My Hero Academia. Last time on My Hero Academia, we had Gear Up for Final Exams. Where, as the name implies, we were gearing up for final exams. We also got everyone's ranking in terms of the midterm exams. And a number of the students in Class 1A actually wanted to be tutored by Yaoyorozu since she was number one in the midterms, which made her so happy and so excited, which was always great to see. Then we took the written exam. That went over pretty well. And then we were off to the practical final exam, where the students would be fighting in groups of two, and they would be against one of the teachers, which is actually pretty crazy. So the first round, we got Kirishima and Sato against Cementos, which didn't go great, so hopefully they ended up passing that, but it didn't work out too well. And then we started on Asui and, or Su, and Tokoyami against the ghost guy in the trench coat. Yeah. But we also got two important pairings are Yaoyorozu and Todoroki against Aizawa, and more importantly, Deku and Bakugo going against All Might, which will be pretty crazy, but that'll be later. So yeah, that was pretty much that. It was a very great episode, and I'm very excited to get into this one. But before we do, this is where I say that if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of My Hero Academia, it is unfortunately not in this video due to copyright reasons that I've had in the past. So what you got to do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment on this video, and there is a link down there, and you can click on that, and it will take you to my reaction highlight, where the footage is in the corner, and it's all edited and nice and good. And you can watch that. You can hopefully have a good time. It's pretty much like any other reaction. And when you're done with that, you can click off of that, come back to this YouTube video, and watch the discussion for this episode, which is always important. But yeah, that is pretty much that. So we might as well get started. That was awkward. Whatever. Alrighty. Man. I mean, it's like, okay, at least someone's acknowledging that there is totally something going on between Deku and Uraraka. Like seriously, which I guess Gunhead already, sort of pointed out as like, when he was like, oh, is that a boy? And she's like, it's not like that. I don't know why my impression of Uraraka is Justin Roiland. Anyway. Okay, I'm glad someone's acknowledging it, but this is not the time. She was trying to come up with a plan, and then he's putting that in her head, which is gonna distract her. Man, that So now, we know that Kirishima and Sato did not pass the final exam. They failed. They straight up failed. Like, I was wondering, like, okay, well, maybe it's like, well, you get an A for effort, or at least, maybe they got a D or something. A D is still passing, but it seems like it's not. Seems like no. Oy. Oh boy, man, there was a lot in that episode actually, because we basically had 4 fights. We had the continuation of Su and Tokoyami against Ectoplasm. I love his name, which was pretty cool. So yeah, we finally got Ectoplasm's name. Well, let's just go ahead and jump into the notes. We got Ectoplasm's name, which is cool. And I like how, it's like, okay, so he can make clones of himself up to 30. But then it's like, because there's always something, odd about these powers, There's always something that's like, okay, well, that's, quirky, obviously. And for him, it's like, well, I guess after a good night of karaoke, you can make it to 36. What? That was just weird, man. So yeah. I wrote down the gate/1. We did get clarification that as long as one of them makes it through the escape gate, then they pass, which was pretty cool. And then I wrote down Sue and cuffs, which at first I was thinking, like, are they going to throw her stomach into the gate? And I was like, I don't know, that's very odd, but it was the cuffs. She actually stored the cuffs inside of her and then upchucked it for Dark Shadow to take and then cuff ectoplasm, which is cool. I also like how they say, because this is all to, play against the students' disadvantages, and for Tokoyami, it's the fact that he can't do well in close quarters. And that's the thing, is that he over-relies on his quirk. He pretty much lets Dark Shadow do everything, basically. And, you never see his arms. They're completely, covered up by his cape. And, he just lets Dark Shadow do everything. But that's not a good idea, He should, get his arms out and do some combat while Dark Shadow is also doing that. They could probably be a pretty good team if they did that. But that was an all around, that was a cool fight. And I do like how they said, there's not a lot of... Asui doesn't have many weaknesses. Oh, excuse me. Sue doesn't have many weaknesses. She honestly has none that we really know of other than, like, fire, I guess. But that's not really useful here. So that was cool. But then just the way the two of them got out of that situation in the first place was also cool. That Dark Shadow grabbed Sue, launched her in the air, then she used her tongue, grabbed Tokoyami, and then there. And it's like, wow, you could probably just keep doing that and just keep going, Just keep grabbing each other, basically. So, that was cool. I wrote down Power Loader. We did get Ida and Ojiro versus Power Loader. We didn't get a lot of Power Loader, but it was cool still. But I like that, it seemed like, okay, he's very much, under the ground and he can attack you from there. And he placed a lot of traps. And I like the idea of Ida running and then using his Recipro Extend in order to kick throw, basically, Ojiro through the gate. I thought that was pretty clever. So I did like that. And then we get our big one for the episode, which was Yaoyorozu and Todoroki versus Aizawa, which was pretty cool. So we can kind of go into that. The first thing I wrote down for that was Russian dolls. I do like, because it's like, oh, just start making, small objects. She could just make, just balls or cubes or something. It's like, no, she specifically made Russian dolls. It's like, well, all right then. Just what she thought of, But then the reveal that all those Russian dolls had flash grenades in them. It's like, whoa, this girl's serious, Which, you can assume that was part of her plan originally. Was to use the Russian dolls with the flash grenades. It's just that, well, then she just started using them just, as, quirk detectors, basically, to detect whether Aizawa was nearby, which was pretty cool. My chair is squeaking. I don't like that. That's new. I don't like that. I hate squeaky chairs. Yeah, that's annoying. Anywho, I wrote down ninja. Todoroki being like, what are you, some kind of ninja now? But that makes sense that Aizawa, would have a bunch of tricks, because honestly, Aizawa is kind of like the Batman of this universe, Like, I know a lot of people, like, when we first met him, were like, well, if All Might is, like, Superman, then Aizawa is, like, Batman. So that's pretty cool, that he just has a bunch of stuff. And that was very clever, because it's like, yeah, couldn't Todoroki just burn or freeze through that scarf? And it's like, well, yeah, but then you're gonna land on a bunch of spikes. Like, oh, jeez, man. So, that was clever. And then, I mean, the big thing about this fight was just, Yaoyorozu questioning herself and, thinking she can't do it, and then eventually coming around to it, which was pretty cool. And, it's also interesting with, Aizawa saying, it's like, maybe you should have talked to your teammate instead of just telling her what to do. And Todoroki just sitting there like, wait, what? It's like, oh, like, it didn't even cross his mind that she had a plan, basically. Which is a fault on Todoroki, that exploits his weakness, Basically, because that's the thing, is Aizawa exploited both of their weaknesses, that Todoroki would come up with a plan, that they would both come up with a plan, but they'd go with Todoroki's even if it wasn't a great plan, because they both think that he is the superior student. So, that's the thing, that's why he paired the two of them together. But that's the thing, is that they had to overcome that. Todoroki had to be like, oh, she had a plan. Crap, I should have recognized that. And then he does that, and then she needed to overcome her, weakness, basically, of, I need to, get my confidence back and say this plan, because it could be a really good plan. So that was pretty good. And then at first I wrote down improv. That she kind of had to improvise, but she did have a plan, and which required going back for Todoroki. And I like, the two of them noticing. I think it was Yaoyorozu too that noticed. Hold on, I'm gonna turn on the subs for this.
We just need to get out of this field of vision. It's all a matter of
Timing. Yeah.
Keep checking to see if you can use your ice power, okay?
Fast enough, kid.
He's wrong to think he'll be able to keep our powers erased the whole time.
Yeah.
There will definitely be a single moment. A brief interval when Mr. Aizawa blinks before he can use his quirk again.
So you've got a strategy.
Yes. I've been thinking about it from the beginning. His weakness.
Alright, just tell me what to do. As a result of my injuries, I can't use my quirk for as long, and I have to rest more in between erasures.
Yeah. So.
She chose her attack because she noticed that. She's pretty smart.
Huh.
Fire! Crap! He erased it.
Todoroki, we have to hide.
So she noticed that he can't erase for as long as he used to. Because he used to erase, pretty well, actually. And, it's all dependent on how dry his eyes get, because if his eyes get dry, he's more susceptible to blink. So it's a struggle to keep it open. But he can't do it as much because of his injuries due to Nomu. So that was pretty cool that she figured that out. He even acknowledged, hey, if she figured that out, she's pretty smart. So, and that's the thing. She is brilliant. She's basically a brilliant strategist. She just didn't have her confidence up yet, and now she does, which is pretty good. And then the new plan, her original plan was also pretty cool. After the whole, the flash grenades was that earlier? I guess that was earlier, whatever. And then I put up the giant wall.
I blocked him with the wall the moment my quirk came back. We can use our powers again.
And then I like this.
The rest of your plan now?
that is a little weird. That it's like, all right, tell me the rest of the plan. He just turns around. She is holding her shirt completely open, and just a scarf is just coming out. It is weird, but it's just her power.
Is that Aizawa's scarf you're making?
And I like he gets a bit awkward about it too. Which there's never a moment where she's like, there's never a moment in this show where she's like, hey, don't look over here or anything. It's like she does not care. It's like, all right, I'm doing my thing. You can get awkward if you want. I've got stuff I need to make, all right? So that's always pretty cool. But yeah, he was getting awkward. It's like, oh, is that his scarf? So that was pretty cool. And then the whole thing with the scarf. So it's not an exact, replica of his scarf. It's a different kind of scarf. And I also love, it's like, she can make she makes pretty simple stuff, but I also like the more complicated stuff she makes, including just a catapult. She just made a catapult, and you have to think, like, okay, did she make the catapult all at once, or did she make the different parts and assemble it as fast as possible? I don't know. I mean, that catapult is pretty big. Does she have enough surface area for that? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe she had to take off her entire shirt for that. Which, again, she has no qualms about doing. Todoroki would still just be a bit awkward about it. So, I like that. I do like that distinction that she does not give a crap that she has to do this with her quirk. It's other people that get awkward because obviously she's a beautiful girl that's getting naked, So, but yeah, the whole thing with the scarf. Launch the scarf, Todoroki would heat it, and then it would become metal and trap Aizawa. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, with that, trap him, cuff him. That was all brilliant. I really did like that. And, yeah, it just shows you, how brilliant Yaoyorozu is, which, that even reflects in the midterms, where it's like, all right, Todoroki got 5th in the midterms, and she got 1st, So, like, when it comes to, like, brute strength and confidence, Todoroki has that, especially now after the talk with his mother. He has all that. And Yaoyorozu needed to build up that confidence and give her brilliant plan. So, I really do like that. And yeah, they ended up winning, which was pretty cool. And they even said, like, did Mr. Aizawa actually, let them win?
When I was about to trigger the catapult,
Yeah.
I made a big mistake.
She slipped.
Mr. Aizawa noticed, but still jumped away.
Yeah.
Even though he could have stopped me easily. I think he allowed himself to be captured by my plan on purpose.
I was just trying to see what Todoroki would do.
Yeah.
You were in my sights, but he still had a cloth over him, remember? I thought he'd try to freeze me. So I decided it would be best for me to back off. In doing so, it looks like I ended up playing right into your hands.
Yeah.
It really was just a matter of timing.
So that's the thing, is he says, like, well, I didn't want to get frozen by Todoroki. But it is... he says that, but it's really like, okay, he wanted to see what she could do, And I like, Recovery Girl saying, it's like, he's still, he might be tough, but he's just a big softy, So that was funny. And then I like this moment at the end, another moment of Todoroki being so oblivious.
Like you said, huh? Thanks, teammate.
Because she starts crying because she won.
What's wrong? Do you feel sick?
No, it's nothing, really.
If you feel nauseous, there's a pressure point you can
No, I
press
told
on.
you, I'm fine.
So I do like that. She's crying because, of how emotional this all is, and she did it. And Todoroki's like, wait, are you sick? If you're nauseous, there's the pressure point. It's like, you moron. He's so oblivious. But I actually love that he's kind of oblivious to other people's feelings, I guess. Which, I mean, it also plays into him being oblivious that, Yaoyorozu had a plan. So, yeah. And then the last thing I wrote down for this episode was Uraraka and Aoyama versus 13. Which, I was very curious, like, how good is 13 when it comes to combat?
It looks like it's aiming from 13's black hole coordinate.
So that was interesting, because yeah, it's like, how much combat does she do? She is the rescue hero, after all. And I do just like, you know, she's not doing some crazy pose or anything while, you know, sucking them in with black hole. She's literally just standing there, just waiting them out. Like, I can do this all day, kids. So, that was pretty cool. And then, I do like Aoyama, you know, the fact that his costume is not just for looks, even though, yes, he mainly designed it for looks. I do like that he actually, like, made it to where it does help him in combat, to where he can channel his laser into different parts. You can see he has it on his shoulders and he has it on his knees, too. That is very clever, at least. I do like that. I like that his costume isn't just for show. It does have some function. So that is good, at least. But then, you know, Uraraka, poor Uraraka, he's still a horrible teammate to have. You know, she's trying to come up with a plan, and it's like, oh, are you thinking about Izuku Midoriya? Because you like him? And she's just, and it's like, this is not the time! This is not the time for that. Say that after, man. Like, come on, say that after this test. We gotta get out of here, you know? The only thing I can think of them to do, the only thing I can think for them to do is for Uraraka to zero gravity herself, fly over, which would force 13 to stop using black hole because she doesn't want to kill a student. So force her to do that. Maybe distract her with a laser, and then go over and cuff her. That's the only thing I can think for them to do. You know? I don't know, but yeah. But now, you know, her head, Uraraka's head might be clouded by, you know, it's like, oh, does she, you know, is she in love with Deku? He's so in love with you, girl. Like, it's so obvious. But anyway. But, yeah, and theirs is battle number 5. So, next episode, we'll already be halfway through, and we'll probably power through a bunch more. And then I would imagine Deku and Bakugo versus All Might will be its own episode. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Another great episode. Really, really love it. And I'm glad, you know, it's a Yaoyorozu episode. We haven't really had that. You know, we've had Yaoyorozu moments, but this was a Yaoyorozu episode, and I love that. Yaoyorozu Rising, which I assume is going to be our different title when we can't just do an origin. Because I know some of you guys, during the Hero Killer fight, you know, I said, like, oh, you know, an alternate title for this could be, like, Tenya Ida Origin. But you guys told me that origin titles are only for when someone is directly influenced by All Might, I guess. Which I think is a dumb rule. I think that very well could have been Tenya Ida Origin. I don't know why we have to, you know, it has to be, All Might has to be involved. It's like, well, they could all have origins, but this could have been Momo Yaoyorozu Origin, but we went with Yaoyorozu Rising. Close enough. You know, I'll take it. But yeah, really did love this episode, and I'm excited to get into the next one to see what the hell Uraraka is going to do against 13. And yeah, that is pretty much that. So with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of My Hero Academia reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.